Hi guys, welcome to 4K channel. Today I'm going to share with you something that looks like a real banknote, but if you examine this closely, this is basically a copy. This is what's called a propaganda leaflet. So next to it I have a real 25 dinars from Iraq, has portrait of Saddam Hussein, and this is the only banknote with Saddam Hussein in military uniform. So this video is about these propaganda leaflets. I have a small collection of these, and these are very interesting, and I would like to share them with you. So what is a propaganda leaflet? It's basically printed material used as psychological warfare. These are actual historical documents used in the war. They're dropped over the war zone by an aircraft, and target is civilians and enemy soldiers. Purpose is to instill fear, doubt, and dissent in the minds of people and soldiers against their leaders. So this one here is a safe conduct pass. So basically a safe conduct pass is instructions on how to safely surrender, and it promises fair and good treatment to POWs. So why would you print this propaganda material on the back of a what looks like a banknote? Is because if you drop it somewhere, someone sees this on the ground, they're more likely to pick it up and read it if it looks like real money. So they're quite effective if you make it look like real paper money. I have a few more from the Afghanistan war that from the Iraqi war that I want to share with you. So here's the next one. It has a caricature of Saddam Hussein with his hands up, casually walking away, while all this blood is splattering on the Iraqi flag. So basically this signifies that your leader doesn't care about the war. He doesn't hold himself responsible for all the bloodshed. This next one here is a cartoon. It shows Saddam Hussein looking tough with holding a sword, and next he's swinging, and ultimately he ends up chopping his own head off. So this is basically mocking Saddam Hussein, that he doesn't know what he's doing, and he's gonna get you killed just like he's gonna get himself killed. And on the back here it says that Saddam Hussein claims that he's gonna solve the Kuwait problem by 30th of February 1991. So this is basically a joke, since there's only 28 days in the month of February. So it's unclear, if the intended message gets across to the target, especially because there's all this cultural and language differences. Here's another one from the Iraq War. It has the seal of the joint forces and all the flags of the countries who are part of the coalition. On the back it has on the top portion it has a Iraqi soldier kind of worried, thinking about fighting the war, fighting all the artillery and the aircraft fire. And on the bottom is the same soldier looking happier, thinking about his family, his wife and kids. So basically this is saying that you don't need to fight this war. You're better off leaving the war, and your family would be better off. Next, I want to show you a couple of pamphlets from Afghanistan war. This is one of my favorites. So on the front you have portraits of the Al-Qaeda and Taliban leaders, and once you flip it over, now you can see the same portraits have been modified. to make them look like dead people. And in the background there's explosion. So basically it's saying that your leaders are doomed, and your fate may be the same as your leaders. So really cool. I have another one from Afghanistan. It's also my favorite. So on one side it shows Osama bin Laden playing chess, and if you look closely, they have the heads of the different Taliban leaders on the chess pieces. So basically Osama bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda, is playing chess using Taliban leaders as pawns on the chessboard. Is basically the map of Afghanistan. So basically Al-Qaeda or Osama bin Laden is using Taliban leaders to play his game. And on the back it shows Osama bin Laden holding one of the Taliban leaders by a leash as a dog, and basically it's signifying that, you know, your Taliban leaders are controlled by an outsider, and basically an outsider is controlling the fate of your country, not the Taliban leaders that you put your trust into. So next I want to show you some propaganda material from World War II. So this first one here is a safe conduct pass. So this is US propaganda against German soldiers. It has the seal of United States on the top, has some writing in German and also in English, and it has the signature of Dwight Eisenhower, the President of the United States at this time. So basically it says that, you know, the German soldier who carries this pass is to be disarmed, well looked after, receive food, medical attention, and to be removed from the danger as soon as possible. So basically promising all this good treatment to the POW, and it makes it official by, you know, having the signature of the president. And on the back it's in German, and basically more details on how the POWs are to be treated, you know, as per Geneva Convention. So I really like this safe conduct pass, and the reason is that this safe conduct pass was basically countered or modified by Germans, and here is their version of the safe conduct pass. Basically they took the same design. You still have the seal of United States here, and you know, they just altered the wording. So basically now if you read it, it says, the German soldier who carries the safe conduct is using it as a sign of his genuine wish to go into captivity for next 10 years, to betray his fatherland, to return home a broken old man, and never to see his parents, wife, and children again. Signed, Dwight Eisenhower. So basically it's saying that, hey guys, don't be fooled, you know, Americans are not going to take care of you. You'll be in captivity forever, and you'll never see your family again. And you know, they're basically mocking the US propaganda, and it's quite blatant on the back, basically saying, hey guys, good try, but no thanks. You know, our German soldiers are loyal to Hitler, and they're not going to fall for these tricks, and they're not going to surrender for mere eggs and hams. So, you know, really, really cool. It goes to show you anyone can print a propaganda material. I have some others from World War II. Here's a really cool one. Here's a German propaganda against US soldiers. So it says, "Dead line the Rhine." So basically, Rhine River is along the western border of Germany, between Germany and France. So this shows, you know, coffins of American soldiers floating in the Rhine River. So basically, it's saying to American soldiers, hey guys, do you really want to cross the Rhine River and come into Germany to fight the war? Death and destruction awaits for you. And on the back, it says, it's a better idea to stay in the rear than to fall in the very last second. So basically, just stay back, do not come into Germany. So this is an example of very straightforward, simple propaganda. Next, I have a Soviet propaganda against Germans. It shows two German soldiers. They're running into each other at a Soviet POW camp, and they're greeting each other with a smile. And basically, it says on the bottom, "You too are saved, comrade." Basically saying, hey guys, we are both saved and lucky to be here. And on the back, it says, "Surrender is the only way to save yourself." 70,000 German soldiers have already left the war, and you can too. So don't march into Stalingrad, but instead give up and surrender, and you'll be better off. So next is, we're continuing with the World War II. So next one is a German propaganda against Soviets. So you can tell who is the intended target by the language the propaganda material is printed in. So this is Russian. Basically shows a Russian family, husband, wife, and a child. The husband looks weary of this stranger and is holding his wife tightly. And basically it's saying is, there's no room for Jews between you. And on the bottom it says, "Jews out." So it's basically saying that, hey guys, Jews are not welcome in Germany, and certainly they're not part of Soviet family. So why are you fighting this war for, Jewish cause? And on the back, this is basically a safe conduct pass. So a lot of times Germans use propaganda saying that communists were, in with the Jews, but on this particular one, it's basically saying, hey guys, we both don't want Jews in our country, and we're both on the same side, so we don't need to fight each other. Next I have is this bigger and larger propaganda material. It's quite large and almost looks like a newspaper. So basically it's a map of Europe, saying that the German home front is threatened by all the aerial bombings, and now you have the forces coming from the eastern front, which is the Russian, from forces coming from the southern front, and now also from the western front. So 4-front war, basically saying that you're surrounded. This was printed around the time of Normandy landing. So on the back here, it says catastrophe in the east, catastrophe in the homeland, catastrophe in the south, and now basically the Allies are coming from the western front. So really beautiful example of war propaganda. So let's move on to a different era. So this is from the Vietnam War. So here's another example of using banknotes for propaganda material. This one is a 5 dong from North Vietnam. This one has been actually modified. So on an actual banknote, there's just a house and a boat next to a river. But what they did here was they actually put a picture of a woman holding a small child, waving her hand. So this is to appeal to the North Vietnamese soldiers, saying that, hey, your wife and kids are waiting for your arrival. So leave the war, go home. Here's another, looks similar to the ones I've showed you in the from Iraq. Basically, a safe conduct pass, has the flags of all the coalition forces. This is U.S. Propaganda against North Vietnamese, and there are some other variants of this, especially there's another variant where it has a picture of the South Vietnamese President Nguyen. Now I have this one. So this is the other side, basically the North Vietnamese propaganda against U.S. soldier. This is really interesting. So it says, hey American, you can have this girl and 10,000 in cash. You can live in Europe or Asia if you just give up, cooperate with us, basically provide us intelligence. So this is a really crude example of propaganda material. Next, I want to show you some propaganda material from Korean War. This is US fighting the Koreans. So this is really beautiful artwork. Basically, you have US and allies pointing gun at the Korean soldiers, and if you look closely, you have basically Death playing a flute, and all the Korean soldiers are falling to their death in this grave of skeletons. So basically, this one on the back has the list of all the countries that are part of the UN coalition, and it says that, we are the UN military soldiers, big and small countries. We will meet you in the battle as one country. No ill feeling towards North Korean soldiers. We are here to welcome you, but if not, we have already killed hundreds of thousands of North Korean soldiers. Basically saying, you're welcome to come over safely, or you can meet certain death. Here's another one. So this one is also from US, but this time this is directed towards Chinese. It's in Chinese language. So Chinese were supporting the Koreans, and I'm not too sure exactly what it says, but basically you have one soldier, witnessing all the destruction and the forces that are headed, and he is calling and using radio and call his comrade, his buddy, and saying that, hey guys, it's this is what's coming. It's better if we just surrender and give up. So a few more before we close. So this is U.S. propaganda against Japan in World War II. It's a little bit harder to see and understand what's going on, so let me explain a little bit. So you have a little cliff here, and you have a Japanese civilian holding his home on his shoulder, standing at the edge of the cliff, and then you have the Japanese military basically climbing up and pulling him down with a rope. So basically saying that, hey guys, you're already at the cliff, at the edge of the cliff, and Gambatsu, or your own military, is basically pulling you down. So not only you're going to lose your belongings, you're going to lose your life. And here's another one. So another US propaganda. shows, you know, all the freedoms that are restricted, the freedom of speech, freedom to move about, and on the back it states that, hey, all your freedoms are restricted, your leaders are to be blamed for all the freedom that you lack, and things are not as good as they claim they are. So next I have this rare propaganda material from the Kosovo War, and this one has the picture of Milosevic, who was a leader of Serbian leader. So they were responsible for atrocities against Bosnian Muslims, and it says war and sacrifice for you, good money for him, his family, and his friends. Basically saying that while you're fighting his war, he's enjoying his life in a safe place, and he's, you know, getting rich. And here's another one from the Kosovo War, and it has the NATO coalition flags, and basically it says, you know, we are fully committed. The arsenal of democracy runs deep. We can fight this campaign for months and months, if not years. So really cool propaganda from Kosovo War. So in closing, guys, I want to share with you this banknote. If you haven't seen this, this is really cool. So this is a propaganda banknote from one of the concentration camps in Czechoslovakia. So basically, this concentration camp is where about 150,000 Jews went through on their way to Auschwitz. So, but what the Germans wanted to do was to pretend that this concentration camp was no more than just a glorified Jewish ghetto. So what they did was they went through this elaborate facade to make it look like this is just another Jewish settlement where people are just going about their normal business, life as usual. So they invited Red Cross to come and witness this, and they went through this trouble of printing these banknotes to make it look like they had a very thriving economy, and the larger denomination actually had serial numbers printed on it. And on the back is what's really cool. So this was designed by the Jewish inmates. So it has a portrait of Moses holding a Ten Commandment tablets, and what's really cool is the propaganda. Basically, the Jewish inmates who designed it, they have Moses pointing to a certain phrase in the Ten Commandments, and it reads, "Thou shalt not kill." So this is a really sad example of the reality of these concentration camps. Much different than what was being portrayed. These banknotes were never circulated, they were never used. They were more of a propaganda than actual notes. So I hope, guys, that I have shared with you something unique. If you don't have these propaganda leaflets in your collection, I hope I have, made you a little bit more aware of them, a little bit more interested, and hopefully you guys will look into this, maybe add it to your collection. Just like banknotes, they're full of history, really cool symbolism, a lot of stories behind these. So please give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and please subscribe. Keep collecting.